Okay, so now that we've made a contact sheet and decided which photos we're going to print, it's time to, let me take that off. It's time to print and enlarge your first photos. First, you want to cut your paper. So I'm going to take my paper out of the manila envelope and then out of my black bag. And you're going to cut this the same way you did for your photograms. So long ways, we're going to cut it in half. It's 10 inches long. So we're going to line this up with the 5 and then cut. And then we're going to turn it, line it up at the 7 and cut. You want to make sure you save these little pieces of paper because these become your test strips for your prints. In the past, you guys haven't been keeping them, but now you really want to make sure you keep those little guys. So I'm going to put my paper back in my bag and my test strips back in my bag. I'm going to take my bag and put it back in my manila envelope until I'm ready to use my paper. Then I'm going to come over to my enlarger. Okay, first things first, every enlarger has a negative carrier. So some of the negative carriers, you have to lift up the head of the enlarger to take it out. On this particular one, this is Gaston, you would just pull it out. If you're not sure, like check on the side of your enlarger. Like Flounder here, you have to lift up the head to take out the negative carrier. Let's see. You gotta lift. This one you just pull out. This one you just pull out. I'll just walk you through really quick. This one you just pull out. This one, there's a handle in the back. You have to lift up to take it out. This one you just take out. It's like a little bit thicker. This one when you would just pull out. This is a pull out. This one you have to lift using the handle. This is just a straight out. And this one's a just pull straight out. Okay, so if you're confused about how to take out your negative carrier, just come ask me. I would rather you ask than break the enlarger. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to take my negative carrier out, and it has a flap that opens. Then I'm going to take the negative, strip of negatives that with the photo that I want to print, and I'm going to hold it up to the light to make sure I can find the right one. Oh, yes, there it is. I'm going to make sure I put it with the shiny side, the emulsion side up. There is a non-shiny side and a shiny side. You want the shiny side to be facing up. And then I'm going to try to place it, close the lid of the negative carrier. I kind of hold it up to the light to try to make sure it's placed in there completely and properly. Okay, so I have it in there. So like a sandwich, I'm going to hold it and put it into the negative carrier or into the slot on the enlarger where it goes. Then I'm going to choose on the timer, I'm going to choose the focus option. And then I'm going to turn it on. All right, I'm going to take the glass easel and put it underneath on the shelf or to the side. And you can see my picture, my negative is enlarged, but it's way too big. So at your enlarger station, you should have a photo easel. I'm going to take my photo easel here and lower the head of my enlarger. Until it fits better in the picture. Now it's really out of focus. So the focusing knob, which is the one that's a little bit closer to you, you want to move it till it looks like eyeball focused. And you want to make sure the entire frame is in the easel. So you can, and it's going to cut off just a little bit. It's kind of like when you have a widescreen DVD and you're watching it on a standard TV. or like vice versa, it cuts off just a little bit on the edges. So you're gonna place your easel where you want the picture to be showing, and make sure you eyeball focus it. And then you're gonna fine grain focus it. At your enlarger station, you should have a grain focuser. It looks kind of like a magnifying glass. Basically, it kind of is. You're gonna place it underneath in the light, and you're gonna look through the eyepiece, and it's going to show you, so the light is shining here and reflecting off the mirror. It's gonna show you what your film looks like. And when you look through here, you should be able to see really tiny fine grains of silver halide crystals that were exposed in your film. If you can't, try to move it around till you find like a darker area, and slowly adjust your focusing knob until you see these little fine grains reflected in the eyepiece. You should be able to see them. It'll look like little grains of sand. And that's how you know your photo is completely 100% focused. Now, if you do that and you print your photo and it's still blurry, what that means is that it was blurry when you took the picture. Maybe your shutter speed was too slow and you got camera shake, or maybe you didn't focus your camera before you took the picture, and that's something that you can't fix. But you can fix if it's focused in the enlarger. So then what you're going to do is turn off your light, and you're gonna grab one of your little test strips. So in my black bag, I'm gonna open it up, and I'm gonna take out one of these little guys. And I'm gonna place it, I like to place it in the middle, or where I know there's going to be a lot of information going on. Try not to place it, if you took a picture of like the mountains, try not to place it just in the sky, because the sky is going to be different exposure than maybe the mountains, and you want to make sure you're choosing the best exposure time to get the most amount of detail. So I'm going to take my little cardboard piece again, and I'm going to do my 5-second increments. Make sure I'm on time, and I'm going to expose it for 5, and then I'm moving it, and I'm going to do 5 again. I'm going to move it, do 5 again. I'm going to move it, do 5 again. And then I'm going to completely remove it and do 5 again. Okay, now I'm going to take this little guy and develop it and see what happens. So again, after it's been in the fix for 1 minute, so this is developing, then we'll do stop back, then fix. After it's been in the fix for 1 minute, you can take it out into the light to see what it will look like. You can pause. So you guys can see, actually this is my first test strip, and it was really dark. Like I can barely see any white area in it. So this would have been 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and you can see it just got really, really dark. So I didn't film this part, but I went back and I tried 3-second increments. So this was 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. But even then, like, there's really still no white parts, so you can't really see the value range, because what you're looking for is you want to have dark, white, and all the shades of gray in between in your final print. So then I actually tried it again, and my enlarger light was set at f8, but I think it was too bright, so I set it down to f11. And I tried again by moving the spot on the picture where I was making my test strip. So now I moved it over to where there was more detail, where I could see, now these are just trees, but these are actual churches. So I can see that I have, this was 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. So now I can see that here I have white, and I'm starting to see value shades. So this was 6 and this was 9. So 9 looks pretty good too. You can see that there's highlights and shadows, and the 6 might be too bright. The highlights are a little bit blown out. So what I'm actually going to go do is in the dark room, I'm going to split the time. So between 6 and 9. So I'm actually going to, I think 9 might be just a little bit too long. So I'm going to go back and print the whole thing. I'm going to do 8 seconds. Okay, I'm ready to print my photo for 8 seconds. I'm going to open up the photo easel. Careful, because it might like get stuck on the top, and you don't want to move this around because you already have it set into place. If you can come look, there's these little nubs inside the photo easel. Here, I'll show you on a different one. There's these little nubs inside the photo easel that act as a guide for your paper. So when you take your paper, you're going to place it shiny side up against those little nubs and hold it into place while you close the lid so that you get a really nice white border around your photo. All right, part of what your grade will be is your craftsmanship. So making sure that you're getting that nice border is important. So I'm going to come back over here, line my paper up at the nubs, and then I'm going to set this to time for 8 seconds, and I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn it off, take my paper out. I'm not going to move this because in case I need to reprint it, I don't want to move it. And then I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to develop my photo. So right away you'll be able to see if it's going to be a good one. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell until you take it into the light, but I can see I have highlights over here. I have shadows, I have dark areas, and I have shades of gray. So I'm working on a full-scale print. And that is how you enlarge a photo. Now you want to make sure you save those test strips because you are going to put those in your sketchbook. So right now, while this is going to go into the fix, I'm going to leave that in here for 4 minutes. I'm going to grab my sketchbook. Boop, boop, boop. I'm going to come back in the other room. I'm going to grab some tape from the tapey drawer. Oh, there's only one in here. How sad. And I'm going to open up my sketchbook and well, that one doesn't have any in it. Anyway, this isn't really my sketchbook. I was just pretending. This is Jacob's, I think. So you're going to tape your test strips down in your sketchbook, and you're going to write what you did. So 5-second increments, you would write 5-second increments. For this one, you would write 3-second increments, still too dark. And then you would say, moved test strip, 3-second increments, turn light to F11 instead of F8. So that way you remember what the process was. So if I ever wanted to go back and reprint this photo, I would know the exact time and aperture that I set my enlarger to make this photo.